Okay, so crypto vlog, July 16th, 2022. What's happening? You know, I don't do well in bull markets. It looks like the worst is over for the summer. At least until mid-August, when more Mt. Gox distribution FUD is back on the table. So anyway, we dipped to like 18.9K after inflation was 0.3% higher than estimations and consensus. So 9.1 instead of 8.8, and then everyone said, okay, this is the top, and then they're like, okay, instead of 7% chance for 100 BPS, it's going up to 83% or whatever. And now it's back down to like 44%. So whatever, up, down, who knows? So obviously shit's hitting the fan. Inflation is going to always go up unless there's tight monetary controls, which there are rarely tight monetary controls. So I encourage everyone to really read that Crypto Haze article, okay? Read it. And I want you to just take 30 minutes to read it, digest it. It's gonna take a longer read because probably a lot of economic terms you've never heard of. Yeah, about the yield curve, which the euro dollar, the European bank prints euro bucks, and then the Japanese bank prints yen, and it sends, and they sell those government bonds, this debt, to other countries and individuals, I mean domestically and internationally, and people just buy government debt instead of investments. You usually buy debt when the economy's cooled off, when inflation's sort of taking over and the stock market's crashing. Then you move into these bonds. They're kind of only worth money when the government is in control of their monetary supply. So the US, the Federal Reserve, decides basically how the European bank and the Japanese, I don't know what it's called, I forgot. The Japanese bank will respond. And anyway, you got to get into it. I'm not gonna get into it here. Basically says they can only print and sell these bonds or government debt for so long before it's over, and inflation just spirals out of control. But that could be 5 years, 10 years down the road, who knows? And cutting out Russia, so the crux is to produce our products. Every country manufactures goods and services, whether they're online or physical delivery. And to manufacture stuff, what do you need? You need materials and energy. And where does that energy come from? What's the major form? We have renewable energy. If you get to like the bottom tier renewables, you have wind, water, hydropower, something like that, and so wind, geothermal too, like Venezuela. Is that, I get them mixed up. El Salvador is using volcanic energy, geothermal energy from the Earth's core. That's, well, it starts in the Earth's core and then it goes up through the crust and tectonic plates till it gets to the volcanoes and magma. Oh, the oceans, I forgot about the oceans above the crust, and then the volcanoes. So yeah, geothermal energy. And then we get to the actual energy that most people use: coal, natural gas, petroleum, or oil, as most people call it. And then the one that everyone wants, but the US says, no, you can't have, It's nuclear energy, okay? Because what can you make from nuclear energy? Nuclear weapons, atomic weapons, boom, world's over. Anyway, so we're destroying Iran's one of our favorite targets to destroy their nuclear power plants, because then they don't have nuclear energy, but they don't have those atomic weapons, even though supposedly they have them. So anyway, nuclear energy is actually the most efficient form of energy, according to the chart, twice as efficient as oil and natural gas. But we don't use it because the risk of a meltdown to the surrounding area yet low, but when it happens occasionally. Like, go back to history. The most famous one in the US is 3 Mile Island. The most famous one up until about 10 years ago was Chernobyl. Speaking of Ukraine, Chernobyl, yeah, that was a key battle in the early days of the Russia-Ukraine war a few months ago. And then 10 years ago, guess who took the crown? Fukushima. I don't know if it was the deadliest meltdown, most destructive, but it caused that tsunami, man. That 2011, it was 2011, right? Tsunami, boom. So Japan chose to shut down their nuclear reactors, their whole country's nuclear reactors. And now they're reliant on importing oil and natural gas. Anyway, so just, there's, everyone always says go to the thermal, I forgot. There's safer forms of nuclear reactors, but just the US focused on the fission, the uranium-based fission reactors. And now, even though there's a more efficient one, just it's so hard for a country to adapt their entire energy systems. But in the last 20 years, we adapted to solar. Oh, I forgot solar in between geothermal and natural gas. So solar has a lot of drawdowns right now. But Elon Musk won't tell you that. He says you can power it with 200 square kilometers, right? You can put, or was it 200? Yeah, I think 200 square kilometers. You can power the whole U.S. Something crazy like that. Or maybe 300. Anyway, I don't know if that's true in the efficiency and delivery system of that solar energy, and then the recycling and disposal of the solar panels and solar systems is what leads to environmental effects and destruction similar to natural gas and oil. Supposedly not as intense on the same scale in terms of negative effects on the environment, but still up there. They want you to think like, oh, it's 100% renewable. No, it's at least half as harmful to the environment as natural gas and oil. So, oh yeah, back to nuclear energy. So yeah, you'll see the videos on the better form of nuclear energy, which is, instead of uranium based, is can't think of fluoride. I know you guys know it. I just can't talk to you because this is a delayed upload vlog. It's not live. I should do YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter Live. Live now. We're live now. No, coming at you live. It's not too late. Anyway, if I think of it later in this vlog, I can't think of it and do the vlog. Talk about economic policies and recessions. So, anyway, supposedly if we switch to that safer form of nuclear fission, we'll have, it'll be wider spread and less environmental effects and less chance of meltdowns. But anyway, thermofluorescein, it's with a TH and an FL, I think. So, sorry for that diversion. That was like a 1.5-minute diversion. Anyway, so if we would just go nuclear everywhere, but we can't because the US and I guess England, Western Europe, France, Germany, they don't want widespread nuclear energy, because then you could build nuclear bombs. And we can't control any country's domestic policy if we're not the one in charge, if we don't have the nuclear weapons and the economic power. So that's why the Federal Reserve prints money. US has nuclear weapons, Russia does too, but their economic policy, just coming out of the Cold War, it was still government controlled, heavily centralized, their private industries. So they weren't able to build up their economy fast enough. So that's why the US is still in charge versus Russia, because of communism. Anyway, do I want to talk about crypto? Do I have time? How long is this vlog? Oh, we're only at 11 minutes. Perfect. Hey, Bonnie. You ready? So, oh no, they got rid of the big tire on top? Oh, go back to crypto. Okay. So they said inflation topped. So like midterm, we're definitely looking at a recession, and maybe a bit longer term, 10 to 20 years of total economic collapse of the quantitative easing, money printing, aka financial system. So that'll definitely send Bitcoin over $1 million whenever that happens. And I mean, nothing is for certain, but the path we're heading, Bitcoin just goes up and up and up and up. So buy your Bitcoins, DCA from 20K down. Now some people are like, that's definitely the bottom for the cycle. I'm not so sure, because Bitcoin's been known to play outside the realm of the macroeconomic conditions, like 2018, 2019. We barely went bear, maybe 2 or 3 months in equities, but Bitcoin was bear all the way from 2018 to 2020. So yeah, so even though macroeconomically, if this was the bottom, but the odds are it isn't, we'll come back to the recession. So that's why I doubt that 20K or 18K, 17.7K was the bottom of Bitcoin. So we will have our summer rally, blah, blah, blah. We'll do our Bitcoin's back. The bear market's over. Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation and economic woes. Bitcoin isn't a hedge against recessions, though. Remember that. We'll see how it goes. Because Bitcoin was born out of the 2008-2009 recession. But we don't know how the price action works going into a recession. We only know how it was when Bitcoin was born. It just went up. It just went up, right? The glory days. Yeah, so back to the current relief rally. The super trend 4-hour flipped bull after a week of bear. So the 4-hour, and then we just need that, I think, for 3 months, since 42K or so. The super trend on the daily, which is the combination of the most popular indicators, all built into one super trend. Super trend daily is still bear, but it should flip bull in a few days. So watch out for it. And once that happens, we're good to go for the relief rally. So it should last. So the Federal Reserve raises rates, and then there's a laggard effect on curbing inflation and causing deflation, price increases to go down, decreases. So that's why it took them a few months of raising, March through July. What is it now? 1.75 target rate. Anyway, so Yeah, so when they raise the next rate in 2 weeks, I think July 26th to 27 is the FOMC meeting, and then so the rates should be raised on July 27th on the second day. It should be a Wednesday. I don't know for sure. Yeah, Wednesday. And I don't think 75 or 100, it doesn't really matter what happens. It won't have much of an effect. The SP 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, or crypto at this point in time. Yeah, so play the relief rally. So Bitcoin goes to 30K. You'll have shitcoins doing like 100x again. I mean, they still were, but not as many. And alts doing like, some alts doing 10x on the major sexes like Binance, Coinbase, Upbit for the Korean fans, Bitflyer for Japanese people listening, tuning in. What else is there? Bittrex. Oh, Kraken, the Kraken, and KuCoin. KuCoin, one of that became the most popular one. So Binance was the most popular shitcoin exchange in November, December 2017, and then KuCoin was the runner-up, and now KuCoin's kind of the place to buy shitcoins. Most popular one. Anyway, yeah. So alts will rally, and then like major, we might have Sol hitting $100 again, even though the high was what, 240. Yeah, it should go, hopefully goes back to $100. I think it's at 37 now, or 38. And I mean, this is if the relief rally plays out until more FUD in middle of August, and that way Bitcoin can decouple more from equities. And so the Mt. Gox FUD, yeah, is something to pay attention to. That should be either a permanent dip or just a short-term dip, as in it won't start the fall to below 18K and maybe down to 10K, but it will definitely contribute to a dip. So maybe if we're trading at 30K in a month, you might think 20 to 30, wow, that's 50% of the month. Yeah, but it went from 30 to 18. Definitely helped by liquidations in a week. So liquidations in the 3AC fiasco and the total CFI lending being out of hand. So yeah, hopefully in a month it's trading around 30,000. Not saying it will, but at that point, when the FUD comes out, it could dip to like 25, maybe even 22, and hopefully it bounces. I don't know how far it's going to dip, but if Mt. Gox actually starts to distribute the 3 billion in Bitcoin, it'll definitely cause a dump. You might be thinking, oh, these bars held since 2013 or 14. They held 8 years. They're going to hold another few years. Why not? Yeah, but they bought in at like $300, whatever it was trading up. So they're up almost 100x. So some definitely will sell. You might think bullish unlock, bullish distribution. No, we will have a dip, whatever it goes to. It might not even be like that severe. It might only be like 30,000 to 25,000. Or Bitcoin hasn't even gone that high, 25,000 to 20. So we'll see what happens. And they might delay the distribution from like August. They might delay it 90 days. Say distribution will finally begin in 90 days, which would put us at a November dump. Anyway, that's something to pay attention to. I wanted to go back to a point. I was talking about that I forgot. Okay, so how do you make money? Well, obviously everyone knows buy alts, leverage Bitcoin, leverage the dips. When the trend is clearly bull, but That'll make you a fair chunk of change. But are you going to sell this time? And then NFTs will pump at the end after alts have sort of done pumping. NFTs are usually the last couple weeks. Extreme pumps. A lot of people are buying NFTs now. I mean, they're always buying NFTs, but like Pudgy Penguins went from 0.8 to 3 ETH, a nice 3.5x. But like the major pumps on NFTs, like Apes, you caught the Punk's bottom at 50 ETH. Now I think it's 75 ETH. And BAYC should pump again. ETH is lower. It might, when Bitcoin was 30K, ETH was like 18 to 2200. So even if we go back up to like all-time highs, say Apes hit 150 ETH before again, ETH might not be even 3K at that point. It might be like 2400. So it's possible to have a run on NFTs again at the end. I mean, I think it's almost certain we're gonna have a run on, if we have an alt cycle here for a month, at least a month, maybe longer, we'll have a run up on NFTs afterwards. So NFTs are like leveraged alts. Just be careful. Be careful. Because once they top, that's it. Everyone assumed and knew the land sale was the top. They topped on NFTs and BAYC, and it was. So they tried to deny the truth, that money would flow, blah, blah, blah. No, it didn't. It absorbed 100 million, whatever it was. And then there's going to be a land sale too, so you might want to buy land now around 3 ETH. If you want, that's what, $300 or so for. Anyway, dude, trading is stressful, man. You want to catch the big moves, right? The shit coins. Just whatever you've learned the last few months, just bring it out. Don't be afraid to deploy capital now, because this definitely looks like the relief rally is coming once that super trend on the daily flips. It's pretty much confirmed. So ST is the trading view symbol for super trend. And get the Mad News Discord bot. Best charting bot for your Discord you can have. Shout out.